Today we are going to talk about the new reporting feature. So we've changed a little bit the way you can run reports. We still have the AI prompting, but we've also added a dynamic filter report that you can do. So we're going to talk through that, and then also talk through a few other new features and integrations, and go from there. So let me pull up Slant and I will share my screen and we will get started. Um, so if you scroll down at the bottom of the sidebar on the left-hand side, we have the reports function here. You can report or you can run reports from here. You also still can run reports from the book chat, and you also still can download CSV files from any of the tables that we have in Slant. But we've made some improvements here to this reports, which should help you to track insights better and for like standing reports that you're doing to be able to build those a little bit easier. So I'll go over this section first in the report. So when you click plus new report, now we'll give you two options. Build with a prompt where you can just describe using natural language what you want to find, or build with filters where you'll choose the record type you want and then be able to just like a CSV or Excel file, be able to choose what columns and filters and things like that you include in there. So um, build with a prompt, I'll just cover this again. So the nice thing with using the AI prompt to build filters is that we can search through all data in Slant. So even unstructured data, like data that lives in the note taker, so the meeting notes, data that lives in tasks and notes, things like that. So when you don't have like a specific field to report on, this is great for that. So if you wanted to say like, hey, show me clients who have discussed retirement in the last 90 days, like this says right here. Um, you probably don't have any specific fields that would be tracking that, but we can check, okay, let's look at all the clients that have had meetings in the last 90 days and look through the transcripts and see if retirement was discussed. And when you do that, I don't think, well, will you have any transcripts that have the retirement data? Probably not. Not with our test account, we won't have the best data, but when you do that, what it will do is it will pull up a CSV report that has what AI thinks are relevant column headers. So we'll try and see what we can get. And you can add like additional things to here too. So, if you wanted to add like, we've discussed retirement in the last 90 days and there are still outstanding follow-up tasks, or and we don't have another follow-up meeting scheduled, or whatever that might be. You can have multiple criteria in there for it to find that. So, there you go. You actually do have 63 clients in here that with your test data. So when you run that, what it will do is it will open up a cohort of people that match your criteria at the time you do that. And then it will try and find relevant column headers to match the criteria that you've given it. So the household name, tier, and then because we're looking at like meeting data, it's going to tell us their last meeting or touch point. And then it will mention why. Like, yep, you said in the notes and in a meeting that they talked about retirement, or I found an email where they talked about retirement, or whatever that might be. And so you're able to find that. And from this cohort, you can do different actions. So you can download a CSV if you want to open that up in Excel and do actions on it. You also can do actions inside of the CRM. So if I wanted to, for example, like take this list and I wanted to like add a tag or something, so I can mark them all as retirement and do outreach for them. Or if I wanted to send like a bulk email to schedule a meeting with them or whatever that is, you've got these bulk actions here. If you click this more, you'll see further options. You can add them to projects, to sequences. You could update some sort of custom field if you like have something where you're talking about their goals and interests. So definitely lots of options there. So, some other different prompts you can do again, like, you can do it for clients, prospects, businesses, whatever record type. You could search, hey, who are prospects who have mentioned a job change in the last 6 months and show me prospects that don't already have a next meeting scheduled or something like that to review those types of things. You could look up, hey, show me any households that have unresolved or overdue tasks and pull up a CSV list for you to do something from there. You could, if you want to see households that discuss certain topics in meetings, show me households that brought up Roth conversions this year or discussed charitable giving or, uh, you know, discussed estate planning, like whatever it might be. Then we'll pull that up. And again, the AI prompt will fill in the blanks with the relevant columns. So that is a great way to look through like unstructured data and to get more like insights to your business that you can't fully track with fields. But there are reports where like you just have a set report that you run every month or every week and you know exactly what you want to filter by and you're tracking those specific fields. That is a great way to use this AI filter report. So this is the new feature here to build with filters. So when you click build with filters, it will ask you what type of report you're running. So if you want to look on the client record, prospect record, other contact record, or businesses. So this is new as well. I think we've been mentioning we've been slowly adding more and more functionality to businesses and other contacts to get them to the same type of actions and functionality that we have on clients and prospects. This is another step in that direction. So I'll click on the client one just to show you, but it's going to pull up this report builder here. And so you may be somewhat similar with this type of report builder. A lot of other CRMs have something similar to this. So the nice thing about this report is it's a dynamic report that can be saved. So with the AI prompt, I'll go back real quick here. It will save the prompts that you give so that you can rerun them, and it will tell you at this, at that rerun, all of the people that match the criteria that you give. But with the filters, that's a dynamic report. So every time you click into it, it will just show you a table and a list at that current point in time of the people that meet the conditions and criteria that you set. So if I do this again, we'll go into clients here. This will function kind of just like an Excel table you're familiar with. So we give some default columns and things here, and I've gone in and added some and saved some changes, so mine will look a little bit different. But you can choose exactly what columns you have in here. If a certain column isn't relevant, say I don't need like latest email interaction, you can click on the three dots and hide a column to remove data that's not relevant. And if you need to add any additional columns, you can add any field that exists inside of Slant. So if you've got a custom field or if we have just like specific data on the household, if you click this column button or if you scroll to the end and click plus add column, you're able to choose from any relevant columns you want to look at. So if you want to pull AUM from custodial data that you're bringing in, if you want to pull date of birth and run a birthday report, whatever you need to do, addresses if you're pulling something to send out birthday cards or Christmas cards or whatever that might be. Also from like meeting touch points. So we have columns for when the last review meeting was, when their next meeting is, when their next review meeting is. There's a lot of options, and then any of your custom fields that you have, you can also report on. So if there is also anything specifically you want to track in one of these dynamic reports, as long as you have it as a custom field, we can pull it. And as a reminder, when you create a custom field, you can use AI to backfill those custom fields for you, which I can show again in a moment. But if there is data that you want to track and you haven't been tracking it and you don't want to take a bunch of time to manually go and fill that all out, that is a good feature you can utilize. So once you get exactly the columns and things that you need in here, then I'll move Zoom over here. Then you're able to add the relevant conditions. So here is where you'll add your conditions. And again, we can do it based off of any of our default fields or also any of your custom fields. And so if you wanted to For example, see like, maybe every month you want to pull a list of your clients whose meeting due date, they're due for a review this month and they don't already have a review scheduled. And that's just like a running report that you want to be able to look at anytime and pull stuff from, or you do it on the first of every month or whatever. So you could add those conditions, right? So their next review meeting is due this month. We don't have any that meet this, but and their next review meeting, or I guess we should do it this way. Their review due date, review due is this month, and their next review meeting is not scheduled. There we go. So that's like types of reports you can pull. You could also do it for if you just want to see like, hey, all my clients who I've had a meeting with in the last 6 months, because you're pulling reports on those. All of my clients who I've emailed this quarter. You could do it for, hey, I need to find all of my COIs that live in this specific city or CPAs that live in this specific city. There's a lot of different options here. You also can add or groups. So if you needed to look up like, hey, show me all of my CPAs that live in Salt Lake City or that live in St. George or whatever you need, you can pull those up. And again, you would just save different reports for the different record types that you have. So when you pull up that filter and select, or when you pull up that report, select a filter, you'll just select the object type that you want, add your different conditions. Again, you can do and groups or groups, and then you'll just save that report. And then this will live as a dynamic report. So if I schedule a meeting for Dale Adams, then when I come in here next, I won't see them on here. So again, specifically, I think this is helpful for those reports that you're just like running like every first of the month, you just want to come in here and just see all the people that meet those criteria. So lots to play around with here. I would test out both like the AI prompts and the filter features to get a feel for what you can do here. Again, with those filter ideas, I mentioned a few, but meeting type data, so seeing people who are their last meeting was last quarter, and you want to run reports on that. If you want to check like, hey, who are prospects that have no next meeting scheduled, you could do that type of thing. Clients with reviews due in the next 30 days. If you just like want to pull a report of all the people that have meetings scheduled and that you need to prepare for. A birthday report, clients that have birthdays in the next 30 days because you send birthday cards at the beginning of the month. Clients who have a missing email or phone number and you want to like make sure the data is staying clean. Lots of different options here. So I will pause for a second to address any questions. Emma, I think you've been answering the chat, but anything you think would be helpful to call out from the chat? So the question was if you can pull reports on individual people as well as households. Yes, you can. So when you click client as the record type and you build your report and you download it, it will download two files. It will do a household level file and a person level file. So that's for all client reports. It will give you both. So if you are doing a birthday report and you download it, it will do that. Anytime you download multiple files at once, your computer always makes you accept and agree to it. So if you're not seeing it, you probably have a little pop-up on your screen or a notification that's making you allow it to download both files. But yeah, if you want to do like birthdays as a perfect example, you don't care about pulling the spouse's information when it's their birthday. But if you still just put like if their birthday is this month and you download a report, you'll get again a household level and a person level of those things. Yeah, you don't specifically see it in this view, but it will basically just break it out into the people that match those criteria. Yeah, those are great questions. Any other questions so far on reports? So I'll show as well, like we still have a few other places you can do reports, but hopefully this is a place, especially as like operations people and admins or solo business owners or whatever that might be, that you're living when you just want to have like standardized reports that you're reviewing frequently. But you can always still download things from the record table. So, um, whatever filters you add up here and columns you change in this view, when you click the download button, it will exactly replicate what you see on your screen in a download. Again, for clients, you get that for both person level and household level. And then I think I mentioned as well, but from the book chat, when you run reports, it will pull up a similar UI to as if you were doing an AI prompt in the report. So if you ask it to show me everyone that meet X, Y, and Z criteria, it will pull up with a cohort, and then you can save it as a report, which then you'll be able to access from this report section in Slant. I will show as well, I'm just remembering I talked about the AI filled custom fields, so I'll show that because I did reference that. So again, if you want to build one of those dynamic filter reports and you don't yet have a custom field with the information that you want to track, if you go into your settings under data customizations and custom fields, you can add any type of custom field. Um, Choose what record type it goes on and what type of information it is. And then once you have a custom field created, you can click on this AI action button. And when you do this, it will pull up with a box for you to give the AI a prompt on how to fill in missing values for that custom field. So you could say, hey, I want you to look for what their estimated taxes are based on, meeting transcripts, emails I've sent, notes on the client household, whatever that might be. You just give it a prompt for how to search for things and what to look for and what record type you want it to look for. And then you also can choose like only fill it in if there's a missing value or overwrite for existing values. Um, and then as a reminder, this is like a one-time backfill. It's not staying up to date. So if that's something things are changing, you may have to periodically rerun these to keep these up to date. But this is a way for you to update those fields kind of in bulk if you haven't already had an existing field tracking this. Cool. So let me go through a few other new features and integrations and things that we've added in the past little bit. I'll start first by just talking through well, let's talk about calendars first. So we have made some updates to the calendar. I don't know if you even have it. Do you have an email integrated in here?
No, I don't.
Okay, that's okay.
Go to a different account.
Okay, let's go to my account here real quick. Well, I'm Google, but you'll get a sense for it. So, while I'm pulling this up, we've had a lot of asks around calendar colors. We had it for Google Calendars already, so you could add events in specific colors if you had Google Calendar. Microsoft just makes it a lot harder than it needs to be, but after lots of requests from customers, have also added the ability to add color to calendar events if you use Microsoft email as well. Another change with email I'll show. So if I go into settings here and go into email and calendar and click on my email. So couple changes to email permissions. Before, you could always grant read access to your emails. So if you have multiple users in your company that are using Slant and you want everyone to have full visibility to all of the email threads between any Slant users and contacts in Slant, or even on a case-by-case basis, you could specifically say, yep, I want to grant a specific person access to view my emails. Um, Now you also can choose if you want to grant send access to specific users. So, pick Emma here. When you select a user to share access to, the default is it will give them read-only access. So Emma could now see any threads that I have sent between myself and any contacts in Slant. But if I want to give Emma access to also be able to send emails from my email, I can do this now. So helpful for people that have operations teams or assistants or things like that, and you want them to be able to send emails on your behalf. Again, you have to grant access to them to be able to do that. But now, if Emma were to go and open up a new email, we'll go in and just put one here, send email. When she clicks the drop down, she would see the option to send from any emails that she has send access to. So any of her integrated emails, as well as any emails that have she's been granted permission to send from. So you can use this anywhere you're sending emails. You can do it from individual emails. You can do it from bulk email. And so hopefully this is helpful, especially for teams, for getting that client communication out. Any questions on the calendars or emails so far? Let's see, I see some questions. I know Emma's answering these as well, but if a meeting is synced from Calendly, don't see how to add the color code. So we are pulling directly from your integrated calendar. So Calendly doesn't let you create events on your calendar in specific colors. But on your calendar, you could either go and change those colors or in Slant, you could also change those colors. Or if you still want some sort of labeling and color coding, you can also use the meeting type labels, which will automatically add to those calendar events. Okay, we'll go through a few other features. So, another popular ask from users, the ability to set a default household naming convention. So we already have the ability for you to update the household names. So if I wanted to update um, like the naming convention for how I do these households or prospects or whoever it is, I can select the ones I want to change, click the three dots, and do rename households. And then from here, I can give it the specific variables and order that I want to rename the households. This, however, only renames the households that you have selected and doesn't set a naming convention for future ads. But now you can do that. So if you click into your settings and admins only will have the ability to do this, but admins who have access to the company settings can click in here and then where it says default household name, you can choose from a list of default naming conventions. And then now when you create a household, it will follow that same naming convention. Okay, so
Just
those are
sorry, Hannah, can I just
separate.
I just did that this morning and there's like some tweaks that I wanted to make to the current one, so it's great because it did a lot. But then what I did, just FYI, if like one of the conventions doesn't perfectly align with how you think about it, I then went in book chat and said, like, this is how I would like couples with different last names to show up. And book chat went through and made those edits. I just had to apply the changes 84 times for those households, but that was fine. And it actually caught a couple um, that I didn't think of that were good catches. So just if people do that and it changes your entire household list, try book chat to then like make those more maybe nuanced um, naming structures and conventions. Because it initially I was like, oh man, what did I do? And then it like only took a couple minutes to just like apply all those changes. So just an FYI.
Yeah, that's awesome. Thanks for sharing that. Okay, so how do you find the book chat? Yeah, I can share that. That's important.
Should we do it? Talk about book chat prompts?
Sure. So on your home page, depending on your order of tabs, because you can rearrange these, but if you go to home, one of the tab options is book chat, and this is where you can find that. If you're using Book Chat a lot, you can change, as a reminder, you can change the order of these tabs. So if you want your default every time you log in to be the Book Chat, you can do that. If you're a company admin, you click these little switch buttons and it will let you drag and drop things to the order that you want them. Noah has been working very hard to help us get better templates and prompts and things like that. If you've been here the last couple weeks, he's been building our automation and projects library, and he's been working on some really cool ideas for prompts and prompt snippets you can put in the chat. So I'll let you take it away.
I just go through a few that I have built. Some of them feel like you're playing with like Black Mirror. They're kind of crazy. So we just released prompt snippets on book chat. So now you can save these prompts to your chat, right? They're all available. You can see them here. So like one of the ones I made was like a weekly team sync meeting, right? So you meet with your team weekly, like you want to have a report that's already automatically made. So the prompt snippet in there, I made a whole Google Doc of these, but we might put them out as a library. I'm not sure if everyone wants these ones, but you can create these with. I had Claude help me make like better prompts to to make book chat even crazier. So this one goes through, it looks at all the meetings you've had last week per advisor, looks at the common themes on each advisor's book, and then it summarizes firm-wide themes as well. So if you look at the output here, you can see this one's kind of terrible, but I did test this on an actual advisor's book who let me use it, and it worked really well, showing, what everyone talked about in their meetings, uh, the big events for the week. If there's like a big compliance red flag, it's going to go through all the emails and all the meetings. Like if anyone said we're going to guarantee 10% returns, um, like that's going to get flagged, and you're going to see that on this weekly sync one. Open housekeeping items, and then just like general next things to do this week. Another one I made, like a supervisor report. This is where it gets really scary, is like you can go see what all of your advisors on your book are doing, right? Like how many meetings are they having? So like this one goes and sees what is Scooby-Doo up to? And you can see how many meetings he held, how many tasks he's been assigned, overdue tasks, like it can go through. I even have like a kind of managerial section on performance areas to look deeper into, even like employee well-being, if that's something you weren't paying attention to, and now you kind of can pay attention to because AI can do everything and it's on every single call with you. So kind of scary, but kind of awesome. Another one I was doing was like an annual compliance self-review, right? Go through your entire book for the last 12 months. What are some things that an SEC auditor might look into that you should probably flag before they even tell you you're getting audited, right? So that's in there. Um, Maybe you could put an at-risk client radar, right? Like goes through every single client household, shows you which clients might be a flight risk, and tells you just kind of check in on those. And then the last one that I have here is, anytime like a money in movement or like a missed opportunity gets picked up, right? Like the client talks about, retiring and there's a 401k or selling a business, like maybe you should think about how that impacts your AUM. So how can you go get these deals that you maybe overlooked, and help clients, further with their assets under management? How does it determine which clients are likely to leave? I don't. It We can look at the prompt.
Yeah, you look at the prompt that you gave. By the way, I'll mention this. So a lot of advisors want your prompts. If anyone wants it, uh, just say something in the chat and we'll have Noah send you this Word doc or look into making it a library. But for now, we'll send the Word doc. So anyone that's interested, just
So this is what it's looking for with clients looking to leave, is like tone cooling across households, meetings, emails. I don't know what that means. Complaints or frustration language, slowing or stop responses, canceled or rescheduled meetings. Maybe they mentioned something about another advisor, big withdrawals, things that kind of make sense, right? Like that you should be looking for that come up. And um, I don't know. Like the only way to see if these are actually working is, we have dummy data on our books because we're not Like I don't, the Scooby-Doo account's not gonna do what your accounts are doing. So the more data you have on Slant, the better it gets, and the cooler these prompts are gonna return. And I have them all set to return a PDF as kind of the output. So everything's kind of coming together in terms of like we made PDFs, now we have prompt snippets on book chat. Like what can we do to make it your jobs easier and just more informed? Another one I have built on the client chat is like everyone's heard of Spotify. They know the whole concept of like if you did the dishes, but you didn't tell your spouse you did the dishes, like do they even know? So like make sure you tell your clients what you did in terms of, you know, would you recommend, what even no's count? Like say you didn't want to do Roth conversions. Well, that was a decision you made for your client, right? Like you should have that mentioned in your slant wrapped, I guess, prompt snippet here we have. So uh, these are just some ideas to play with. I don't know if we want to go into further detail if anyone has any cool prompts that they are using on book chat, but love to kind of just open it up to the group.
It's awesome. No, you're getting so much love. Look at this chat.
This is awesome.
They all want your stuff. Russell did have a good idea. We could just attach it as a like PDF or Word doc in the chat here if that's easier for everyone if you want to download that.
I'll share it with Russell, and then Russell, you'll do that, okay?
Yeah, good idea, Russell. You get to execute on that now.
There was a question on how to put prompt snippets in.
Oh, yeah, thanks, Noah.
I'm just gonna quickly show that. You go to settings, you can go down here to prompts under customization, prompt snippets, and then you can go new prompt snippet, and then this is where you either put it on the client, the prospect, the meeting chat, or the book chat here is that's where it's gonna appear. So if you want this to apply, like for the slant wrapped one, I would probably put that on the client one because that's specific to clients. But for all the other ones I showed you that want to look across all the other books, those are all on the book chat. So if we go look at the at-risk client radar, this is how it's built. You see I just have the icon as the people as the household, but you can change it to any household, any picture you want there. But that one's on the book chat, and it's really just as simple as just copying and pasting that prompt into that, and you're good to go.
Try out the new book prompts, try out the new reports, try out these new features, and we would love to keep making them better for you all. So, okay, thank you so much. Enjoy your weekend, and we'll see you next week.